Looking at the fact that we've lost a lot of staff, and also that we're going to be beginning this year with no contract once again. We have had 4 negotiations meetings, and I will say for the first time, we met with the board and they were prepared. Thank you, Michael, for that. But there has been no movement. So it is evident to us that the board seems to be only concerned about the dollars and the cents and not language, because we've not touched language. There are many language changes that need to occur in our contract. Something so simple as just changing the Board of Ed address. And then in our contract we also need to change other language as we change what we do on a day-to-day basis in the classroom. We would like for this board to lead by example and provide us with a fair contract. The staff you see here tonight, many of them represent the LEA as leadership in the buildings. We are here to ask this board to work with our LEA negotiations team and provide the LEA with a fair, signed contract soon. I'd also like to ask or make a correction. We did have 51 teachers who retired. Thank you, Mr. Finger, for that correct number. But what was the number of teachers that we riffed along with the teachers who retired?
She has to ask more.
That's it.
Okay.
I would have to go back and look, but back in May there were 24 non-renewals, RIF, terminations, resignations. I'd have to go back and look exactly which ones was a RIF. Top of my head, I don't believe the RIFs were that many out of that 24. A lot of them were resignations.
To the chair.
Yes.
I will invite, as the negotiation person for the board, we would love to meet with the union once again as soon as possible. If the board, I know the board has expressed that interest to meet as often as needed and whatever hour needed to meet with the board. So do I have authority to contact Ms. Cousins and Joan Schlager before Friday to set up? Well, that would have to be an entire board decision. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well, none against. I know your number, Ms. Cousins. Okay. In fairness, when Ms. Sanders, Mr. Finger was turning on the air conditioner, which apparently is not working, so there were some questions that were asked. I wrote down some of them. So there are 50 seconds to answer those questions.
We'll make some love too, since we sort of interrupted. He could just answer the questions at hand, please.
Question regarding Shy. Off the top of my head, I believe the state-approved cost is approximately $84,000 a year in tuition. That's for a 210-day school program. His other question: how is the dollar amount determined for special ed costs for public and non-public? I'm really not understanding. If it's a private school for the disabled, the tuition rates are set by the state. I'm not really sure what that question means.
Well, let me help you since I was here. Ms. Sanders asked a question we've been asked before with the President's permission. How is the dollar amount set for public school students, for special ed public school students? I believe I'm paraphrasing. Ms. Sanders and I have not practiced this before the meeting. Are there different rates for example, an autistic child in public as opposed to a cognitively impaired, and how are those numbers derived?
When the district puts
That's
their
not
budget,
the question.
In all fairness, do we just have Ms. Saunders come back to the microphone, because it's only appropriate that you ask the question and the person that needs to answer the question hears it. So we're going to allow her to re-address the board.
What my question is for your classified students that remain in district, is the per pupil cost about $18,000 per child?
Go ahead and ask all of them. I would redress many of the questions, because honestly it's had to be watered down so that Mr. Finger has a fair opportunity to answer them.
And I just wanted to know if your general per pupil cost for the regular student population was $11,000. And then I asked about the resources that are available at the Shy School. Are those same resources available here in the district for all teachers and students?
As far as the tuition for, as far as the cost for special ed for in-district students, that's when we do our annual budget, that's how that gets calculated. Now, as far as determining an amount that we would charge another school district if they wanted to send their student to Lakewood, but that gets broken out into different levels. We've got different charges for LD, BD, MD, autistic, full day, part day. And that's actually in our state-approved budget because we're not a regular receiving district. We have an agreement with other districts of sending, receiving, where you have to fill out a different form to the state. Ours is just based on our budget because we don't have a formal agreement. That's public record. I mean, I don't have it with me, but it is public record in our annual budget statement. And as far as when you're saying resources, the district here versus Shining, I'm just going to say I'm not a special ed
I don't
expert,
think that's a
so
question you should even be attempting to answer. I think the questions that should be answered, she wanted to know, basically, it sounds to me like, do we pay $18,000 for our children that are getting special ed services here, and is it $11,000 for regular ed students? Those are the two questions she needs.
Actually, I believe our average for our per pupil cost is approximately I think from our budget about $11,800, but I would have to go take a look at that just to make sure. And as far as special ed, again, you don't have one amount because that's broken out by all the different classifications. So I can't honestly say to you that our cost is $18,000 a student, but I know like autistics, like I think we're charging the Trenton School District $94,000 to send an autistic child.
There is an average. There is a calculated.
I'd have to calculate the average.
There is a calculated average. And you did not answer my question about the use of the hour.
I didn't hear any question about the use of the
That was my first question about the use of the ARA funds. How were the ARA funds used in this district?
Well, I could probably sit here and talk for about an hour on that. So the easiest thing right now to say, unless you have a specific question on it, where I'd have to go research it, there was an audit done by the feds, and not the feds, by the state, ARA monitoring. All the districts who had ARA monitoring reports have them posted on our website. If you click on our website on our homepage, it's on the left-hand side, about halfway down, there's a link to the ARA monitoring report. That was through Eagle.
Mr. President, I inadvertently left off, and it wasn't intentional. Lisa Piero, she was here, and I'm sorry. Lisa lives in Manahawkin. She was an employee of ours through June 30th, so therefore there would be a motion. It would need to be a motion to allow her to speak. You can make that motion if you so desire.
All in favor?
Okay.
Hi, I'm Lisa Piero. Thank you for hearing me. My job was terminated as the ACE program was closed and put into the high school. They said that there was a good chance that I would get the position when Robin Lago retired from the high school. Mr. Coddix was in touch with me, and we went back and forth, and he said, I'm recommending you for the position. In July, Ms. Yuli's secretary called and said, we'd like to bring you in for an interview. It's very informal. You've been with us for 5 years. It's just a formality. I went in and talked with Ms. Yuli and Mr. Riley, and another woman was present. And they told me that I had the position. It just had to go to the board July 28th. Very nonchalant. And I said at the end of it, I can tell my parents to rest easy now, and they said absolutely. So after that, I called Mr. Coddix, and he was thrilled. We had a discussion about coaching. He'd like me to do home instruction instead of coaching, because I've been doing that for 5 years for the district. And then July 27th came around, and I was not on the minutes. So I called and asked what happened, and they said that paperwork, shuffling, I was on as a substitute on the board minutes in July. They said, don't worry about it, everything's fine. By August, we'll have it straightened out, and you'll be on the board minutes for August 18th. So I was still concerned. I called Mr. Coddix, he wasn't there, and I spoke to Donna, his secretary, and she said, Lisa, everything is in line, it's great. Lori Downs is going to be your mentor because you're new to the high school. We may put you in the same office. We discussed all that. And then today happened. I woke up and looked at the minutes and I'm not there, and there's another recommendation. And I've been devoted and dedicated to these kids for 5 years, next in line, and I don't understand it, and I was wondering if somebody could clarify that for me, or reconsider the recommendation.